I'm trying to get this. The 1584.4, that measurement, the edge.
Where are we at?
So on the edge of the roof.
Oh, here?
So how, can those be activated to actually?
No, those are just coming through. And remember yesterday I was talking about how some people's rooms looked a little different with the way it was measuring. Some might have full measurements, others were broken up. It's just the system.
Okay.
So if you trust your measurements of your roof, don't worry so much about how theirs is displaying or how mine is displaying. It can be the difference between a demo and a live version.
Okay.
It's not as easy. Type in main roof or main deck. When it skews that bad, it's best just to start over. And let me tell you what it looked like happened. It looked like you actually went in and changed a slope because you had different slopes on A and B that you did on C and D faces. So it looked like you changed slopes before you ever changed the roof type, and therefore, when you did that, it didn't record at all. Top to bottom on that list. Okay, so go ahead and add your little offset. That was pretty easy adding your offset, was it not? You all knew how to do it. You knew to grab the brake tool, place and drag, pull it on out after holding down control. Not too difficult, right?
No.
Just one quick question. Does it matter when we pulled out the offset, does it matter which handle you use to pull it out?
So
Because it had three.
here's the
and you
problem.
used the one in the middle.
Well, I had a double brake. That's what you're talking about.
Right.
If I use a double brake, the middle handle is the handle that I'm defining to be able to pull out. Otherwise, I would just use that hard brake and pull one side or the other, which would have only changed the shape of the roof and not given me an additional roof. Okay? So, yes, it does. If you're using that double brake and that's what the place and drag is, the intention is to use the middle handle. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead and add our garage. Who can walk me through the process? Better yet, who would like to come up and drive? Let's go, let's go. Oh, Chuck. So we're going to add the garage, right?
Yeah.
Chuck, can you tell us what we need to do?
We need to get a brake.
We need to get a brake, okay?
And I'm gonna pull it down about, I think it's 5.
Right here. Don't worry about the exact. Remember, we can always change it.
And I'm gonna come down around 4 feet, somewhere in that. And then we're gonna hit control. Grab that and pull it out.
Woohoo! Yes. There's our garage. Now, can I change my measurements? Absolutely. He got so close. Look at that. He got 2710 and it needed to be 28. That's pretty impressive. I'm going to bump it down. Oops, and it automatically went to 28. I'm pretty happy. Needs to come out how far? 9.4. And then I can relabel it. Look how easy that was. Once you learn that brake tool and you know how to brake it and then use your control before you grab and pull, look how easy that roof comes into formation.
So that means we're at 28.
Now, how many of you felt this was so much easier today than yesterday, and yet we're not doing anything much different, are we? Adding roofs, adding roofs. Absolutely.
Now, the convention, man,
Oh, it's messed up something.
I just take from the very top bar. Mine's really off. Just talking about breaking the very corner.
Did you break in the very corner after I've told you not to break in the very corner? Okay.
I was asking Shaq, so I'm not breaking the very top of the line.
It's not pulling, it's not placing and dragging. All we were doing is a hard break. And the reason is, what do I have on each side of this roof? I have area of roof that did not move, right?
Oh, I see.
I was just pulling out a defined area.
Right.
What Chuck came up and showed us was that we needed to take our brake tool and we just needed to place a hard brake.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Because what happens? I'm pulling out from this entire edge, am I not?
Okay.
And once I do that, what happens? I'm sharing a slope. See the difference? This is a defined area. I have roof line on both sides that do not move. Just like in those rooms when we were doing an offset. In this instance, I'm sharing a slope, which means I need to take it and pull it all the way from that top, correct? Hard brake is the only way to do that. Who needs help? I'll come help you.
And so then when you went to change the, when I try to change the dimensions to what you had, or you said don't change the dimensions. Don't change it.
When you tried to change the dimensions, what happened?
Turn into a whole different shape, so I put it back.
Let me come help.
I'm like, so we're going by the
Hang on
dimensions.
just a
Okay. So, I'm sorry. So I was trying to change it. So you said 28, and then
Okay.
what did you say?
So remember, you have to pull it down. You have to define which way that roof needs to go. Okay, now put in your 28. There you go.
Well, it turned into something totally different, but now.
But yeah, but what does that mean?
I gotta click on it and pull it.
Absolutely, you got it.
This part right here, or
Which handle? You gotta choose a handle. We only pull from the handles.
and the which one
And that, put it right there and release. There you go. You got it.
is-
Okay, so did you add a roof or did you use place and drag? Can't do place and drag because now you're saying that area of the roof doesn't move. And in fact, we need it to tie in, right? It's not going to tie in at this point because it's locked in. So let's do that again. I want you just to click B for brake, place it. Don't place and drag, just drop it. There, nope, it shifted. Try again. There you go. Now hold your control. Grab that top handle and pull on out. You see how it's just now extending that slope? Now you can release it. You can highlight that roof. You can bump your lower handle down. And now you can drop it and put your measurement in.
Okay. I think I may have in watching you help them. So
Uh-huh.
I think I found information. Like,
So let's delete this, whatever that is. Where it says roof 2, you've got a hidden roof up there. No, there you go. Okay. You're just gonna place it. There you go. Okay, drop. I like the roof. Okay, now just grab that bottom handle.
Now it's Okay, is this what makes it not shift up?
Yes.
Okay, that's, okay,
Yes.
thank
So
you.
here's the question, everyone listen. Remember yesterday we were talking about when you're bumping that handle on the roof, you want to tell it which direction to go. You can't forget that. You have to know which handle to pull. In this instance, I already had my shared slope at the top, correct? So I wanted to grab my bottom handle, bump it down, and then come in and define what my measurement was, so that that roof would know to extend downward. If I tried to bump the upper handle, it would have broken the ridge line and it would have broken the eve line and it would have gone straight up. And now all of a sudden I don't have that shared slope. I have a separate roof altogether. Okay?
This is still one roof. This is still all.
This is all one. How do we know that?
Sub, yes, the sub.
Because of the subs, absolutely. So the other way you can double check, go look at estimate items. Tell me how many icons you have for your roof. You should have one.
What is she talking about? When we pull the match, I mean, when we pull it to the ridge line, what is that? The term? I'm writing notes just because I know when I get home. What memories? Let me see. Tie into the ridge. Got it. Tie into the ridge.
Now you're going to go like that. You're going to grab this handle, pull it down, bump it down, release it. Highlight it 22. And then put it in. There was no control used. That is hard. But it's actually showing the hidden roof underneath there. Pull that up to the back, click on there, and delete that. There's that other roof. You actually added one and then changed it. Go ahead and delete this roof and start over.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's because you didn't pull it down first. I was just talking about it. Now that the line, wait, it's going to be
This time
B for brake, drop it, hold down control, grab that upper handle, and pull it out.
And does it makes a difference.
Well, of course it does. So now, the only way we can go is down, correct? Otherwise, we break the current block. Because we have to up and down, and then you can put your. How's everyone else doing?
No.
You didn't do 32 down. Your roof dimensions are way off. There's your roof at you. Now,
So then hold down control, grab your upper handle, pull out.
And then you want to change that.
Don't try to get it perfect, draw it better. And you spend too much time doing that. Then you can go ahead and set that to your 9-4. Great. Now you're going to highlight it and you're going to bump this bottom handle down. Tell it which way you need it to go. Then you're going to come in and put your 28. Okay, team, let's look at this one more time. I need everyone's attention up here. Don't even touch your laptops right now, okay? The biggest mistake you're making is which handle you're grabbing. If I'm going to add this additional roof, I'm just going to break and drop. It does not matter where I place it at this point, correct? I'm just trying to get to where I can pull a new roof out. Going to hold control and grab my upper handle. Why my upper handle? Because I'm sharing this slope and this roof line. This is what I'm extending out. If I were to grab that upper handle, I disrupt that roof line instantly. Because right now it's perfectly tied in, isn't it? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that 13.1. Why? Because it's blue and active and I know I need to set that measurement. What does it tell me it's at? 9.4. Then I'm going to highlight that roof again. I've got my handle showing. I need this to be 28. Am I going to grab this handle and bump it up? No. Absolutely not. I have a beautiful roof line there, don't I? So I'm going to grab the bottom handle, bump it down, and then I'm going to define the 28. Now what's wrong? Bring it to the ridge line. And there I am. So you have to remember, it's just like yesterday when we were playing and adding all the additional gables. Where are we sharing that roof line? We had to take the opposite handle from that roof line and pull it over, didn't we? As to not to disrupt what we were creating. Does that make more sense? Okay. Great.
You know, an inch off doesn't make you be different
No.
in the number of squares.
No, and actually, clients and everything else, even in rooms, an inch is forgivable. I mean, it is what it is. I think someone in here yesterday when we were doing the octagon, you had one side that was an inch off. No matter what we did, we could not get it to be perfect from that 1 inch. Okay. Your system, for whatever reason, wasn't allowing that 1 inch. Okay. I'm okay with that.
I mean, the offset tip on that really doesn't make any difference where it is.
It does,
It's size correct.
as long as the size is correct, but it's like I said yesterday. I don't want to pull it down to the bottom.
No.
It has to resemble what's out there. But does it have to be perfectly placed 5 feet down? It really doesn't. But don't go placing it down at the bottom because then your reviewer is going to say, this isn't the same house. Okay? Hey, Laurie, that sounds great. I think that's good news. Wow. Wow.
Okay,
Break that one?
on that garage, is 28, that the total, I guess, length of it? Each two, I guess it's 14, oh my goodness. Okay, 14 and 14. What is the 14.9 that's above the 14?
That is your rafter length. So remember the page I gave you
So your
yesterday?
slope on
Look,
the roof, so your rafter's going to be longer. Right?
that, this signal right here, let me just, right here. You see that?
I do.
That is referencing your actual rafter length. Okay? Let's go back and look at our roof. By design, I think it was what, about 90, 92, 91.
just knew that you could find out. Okay.
So we have our rafter length. It's indicated right here. Well then, what is this 14 foot?
That's the right.
Who can tell me what the 14 foot is?
It's just over there.
The 14 foot is halfway distance for your bottom joist from the rack.
It's the run, right?
Yeah.
So if I were to grab a line and draw it here, of course it doesn't want me to. This distance to the center is the run. Now what you have to remember, guys, and it gets a little confusing when you're first learning it, is that if I'm looking at this roof, whether it's a hip or a gable, I can measure the run from here to here, and that is where my rafter starts at the top. Does everyone see that? And instead of it being the rafter length, it's actually measuring how far the run is. And there is a difference. The rafter length is greater, is it not?
The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Absolutely.
Think at it, the bottom line up there on that triangle it's showing you is the shortest distance between 2 points. So that's the 28 feet. So to get to that peak, each of those joints, shape it feet, if you lay those down and lay them flat, they're gonna hang over.
Right, I think what was
Now-
confusing me was I thought that like if you click on that again, to show the full, all of the measurements. I thought the rafter was the 24 that I'm seeing.
No. The rafter is the 14.9, your run is the 14, and your span is the 28.
So what is that 24 that's actually on the garage? It's inside of the.
20 foot 4 inches.
That,
That's measuring the inside of that hip.
The inside.
It's measuring the inside. You remember the shape of our hip. That's going to measure from here right about to here. That's all we're looking at.
And show,
And that's actually going to tell us basically, I'm sorry?
can you show, doing that, what you just did, show where the 14.9 measures again, please.
The 14.9 measurement is here on the outside of this hip ridge.
Okay,
So you see the length here is longer than the length on the inside.
okay.
Does everyone see that in the 3D? So this is our rafter length, and this is the area that you're seeing that it's actually measuring, giving that additional measurement to. You are concerned about the rafter length, and on a hip, you're more concerned on the span for your measurements. That's a lot of information, isn't it? And again, guys, listen, it's a learning process. It's much easier. You start getting into some of these different shapes. We have Dutch hips. We have all these different types of roofs in there, and we'll get into all of that. The system tells you what you need to know to measure. So if we're going to measure a hip roof, I'm going to get up and I'm going to make sure that I have measured my span. So I'm going to measure every straight area that I can really on the perimeter. I could draw a footprint and draw that hip roof very, very easily. Very easily. I want to know my ridge length. Absolutely. And then I want to know what my slopes are on all four sides because they may not be equal. They may be different. A lot of times you'll see the front and back slopes may be a little less than your side slopes to really give it that push up that you have. On a gable, my rafter length is everything. My ridge line and my rafter length. It's all I need to measure. These get a little bit more convoluted when you're looking at them. But if I was up on this roof, I mean, I could easily measure this rafter length, very easily. I'm gonna make sure I have my hip measured. And I come across and I measure. I wanna know from that hip, when it's in its triangle format, what is the measurement across and what is the measurement down the side? Because at that point, it sets my ridge for me. The only reason why I go out and I'll sit there and measure the ridge on that as well is so that I make sure that my slope is correct. Because I also know the slope. So if my slope is incorrect in the system, and let's say that I measured a 12-1 ridge line, and I'm putting it in here and all of a sudden I end up with a 14. I've done something wrong just setting it up. Oh, I forgot to change the slope. So it's kind of a double check. Okay? Any questions on this particular roof? Okay.
My garage is like showing my steel garage. How you got a F8? I don't have an F8.
That's because your seal isn't using a control. You've done nothing but change the shape of that first roof. So let's grab that handle and move it back. Okay, so now go ahead and hit control on the hard brake. Go ahead and just place it. There you go, hold down control. Now pull it out. Now bring it down. Now you've got your effect. Okay, any other questions on this roof? How many of you feel a little bit more confident after building this roof? It does build confidence, doesn't it? One step at a time? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys, I know you've had coffee this morning. Do you need it? Chuck was like, Lori, I've been waiting. 10-minute break.
Those old guys.
Not just the old one.
Yes.
When you say rafter, that's the wood that's underneath, that's holding the roof, right?
Roy, do you know how to stop this? I have no clue.
I don't know how to stop that. She didn't tell me how to stop it.
You could just shut it lit.
So they disconnect it?
Huh?
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't make it with it.
You have to grab. Well, I like that. Hold this handle down.
And straight. And
I like just.
is there a pause?
Should be.
Now grab that.
Should just be end?
There should be a button there.
There should be like a pause, I would think. I'm not seeing one.
It's only going to affect this side measure.
I don't see anything.
You have to highlight that.
She'll just have to edit it because I don't want to shut it completely off.
Okay. Yes.
Right, so now you're gonna have to.
This portion,
Yeah, there's your head, there's your core, this goes all the way around. So it's defining that room for you. That's what those handles do. So think of it in terms of that room too. We had handles on every single wall in the system. This is really no different. It's saying, here are your handles. These are your parameters of this particular object. Okay, so before you change that, go ahead and move it down and you can taking that command.
Jody's our guru.
Down just slightly.
I don't know.
Now, there you go. Now.
Well, I don't mean to physically already.
Okay, click on the main. So you're talking about pulling this over? Oh, you're talking about that too. So it looks like you've got something wrong here.
Chuck Scott, German College. Fine, how are you? Good, man.
Sometimes your sides have to chew. Go ahead and hold gun control.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's good. Sure. Yeah, that was yeah.
What's the name? To shut it off.
Sure. Sure.
No, some have it.
Don't know.
Correct. Yeah.
Salsa. Salida salsa.
I asked my mom that and other people ask her too. No, it's just something she needs. I know, but asking, anyone in your family, Mexico or something like that? Because sometimes when I say Salida, they say Salida. Yeah. What? Oh, this one. But I already have one. That's why it is. The extra one. Yeah, I know that's because
I'm not saying that, but he's like,
which is right there. This is from the main house, from the old main house.
So now everybody
Yeah.